Hey, hello, good evening, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Friday Night Hangout. Woo! Welcome. As always, I'm excited to have you here. I'm your host, Joy Onyeso, and tonight we continue our interesting conversation on emotional resilience. Today, we're going to be talking about transforming your mindset. Woo! What a powerful topic. Transforming your mindset is one way of building emotional resilience. And so today we're going to look at what the mindset is. We're going to also look at ways of transforming your mindset, and we would look also at the importance of your mindset so that you know and get prepared really for the journey ahead, okay? All right. So if this is your first time of joining us, welcome in. This is the Friday night hangout. We meet here every Friday, 7 p.m. This is a safe space to network. We discuss topical issues. We also discuss topics that can help you grow your personal and business brand. And if you've been following us, this is me saying thank you for always being part of this tribe. Thank you for showing up every Friday, 7 p.m. And not to worry, if you miss an episode, you can always watch the replay. We got you covered. Okay. So, before we delve in, I want to know how the week has been for you. These are very uncertain, challenging times, but even in all of this, there are opportunities to not just survive, but to thrive. And that's why we're talking about emotional resilience. And tonight, with a special focus on transforming your mindset. Your mindset. Ooh, is one of the most valuable assets that you have. So you've got to protect it, you've got to nurture it for you to be all that you have been purposed to be. Now, your mindset is, the set of beliefs that, help that shapes how you look at things, the meaning you give to things, and how you experience life. It also determines, the actions that you take. So this is very, very important that you have a good understanding of how your mindset works. Whether you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, you want to reflect on that and take positive steps to transform your mind. If you want to be all that you have dreamed about, if you want to have full manifestation of your dreams, one of the things you need to do is to nurture your mindset. Now, this is very important. Whether you will be successful, how you show up, how you engage, the meanings that you give to things in life, especially at a time like this. How do you translate times like this? Do you see it as frustrating, overwhelming, or do you see it as an opportunity for you to be creative, innovative? So all of this depends on the kind of mindset that you have. And that's why tonight we are talking about how we can transform our mind to give us the best outcome, to help us build emotional resilience. And so get yourself comfortable. If this is your first time of joining us, welcome in here. This is a good space for you. It's no coincidence that you're joining us at a time like this. So get settled, get comfortable as we delve right into the conversation. And as usual, I would say use the chat box. Let's make it very interactive. Um, I know how it is for a number of us now. So today, while I was in the office, a member of my team said, do you know how much a cup of rice is now? And I said, how much? She said, 450. And I'm like, whoa, you know, a cup of rice. And she said, it is not even like the normal cup, right? It's not the usual cup. And then she said, "Do you know how much a cup of beans is?" I said, "No." She said, "I think she said 400 or 450. I can't quite remember the exact cost." And then she reminded me that just a few years ago, I think it was in 2020 when COVID hit, then at the onset of COVID, my team and I would go around, giving out food packets to families just to support and ease the effect of COVID. One of the food items that we were giving away at that time was beans. As she said, can you imagine if it were now, we wouldn't have been able to afford to give that beans out. I said, well, it depends that as long as there are people eating the beans, we would still have been able to afford to give the beans out. It's just that it will come at a higher price, but then would have still been able to, afford it. What am I saying here? Some key things stood out for me in that conversation. The first is that we are in very challenging times. This is one of the most challenging times Nigeria has faced. Aside COVID, I think COVID was the one that really hit us so hard in recent times. Then now, right now, prices of things keep changing on not just a daily basis, but it seems like an hourly basis. Like the price you get 10 a.m. is not the price you get 11 a.m. is not the price you get, 12 noon, get by noon. So a lot is happening. Families are under pressure. Individuals are under pressure. Organizations are under pressure. And if you're not mindful, it's so easy at a time like this to feel overwhelmed. It's so easy for you to feel depressed. It's so easy to just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm done. I don't know how to go about this. I want us to center the conversation to remember that we're talking about emotional resilience. And one way of, building your ability to stay grounded, your ability to stay focused no matter what, is by transforming your mindset. How do you transform the meanings you give to what is happening around? How do you transform the fact that the prices of things are skyrocketing and really you have no control over it? But there are certain things you have control over. And one of the things you want to do is to focus on those things that you have control over and leave the things that you really cannot control. Right? Now, how you interpret a time like this. Hi, welcome, Mr. Shola. Welcome, Messi. Nice to have you in here. Thanks for joining the conversation. Now, it's just before coming onto the show, I was watching a reel where, a market woman was saying that she's tired. The acre of rice is now 1,002, 1,003, that the government has failed and all of that. That's a normal reaction when things go south, when things go the way it is going now. The tendency is for us to lash out, for us to vent. The prices of things are really skyrocketing. But let's look at it this way, and this is where your growth mindset kicks in. A growth mindset is a mindset that is open to learning, open to interrogating, open to looking for solutions, alternatives. Whereas a fixed mindset is stuck in a particular space saying, this is how it is. I cannot do anything about it. I cannot learn anything new. So we want to move away from that space. And I'm going to come to the strategies much later. But for now, I want us to just experience the hi, goodness, thank you for coming in. I want us to know that we have all that it takes to navigate these uncertain times. We have all that it takes to build our emotional resilience. Because if you give in to what is happening now, aside losing focus, you will get overwhelmed, you will get stressed, your health will be impacted, you'll be so distracted. I can just go on and on and on, right? And we don't want to get into that space because remember, when we started year 2024, you set out your goals for this year. I want you to keep your eyes on the big picture all the time. Yes, we're going through things, but I want to ask you, are there things you can do now to change the situation? There are things you can do, things that you have control over. So you want to start looking at your spending habits, right? You want to start looking at your priorities. You want to look at where your money is going to on a daily basis. You can't afford to keep doing the same thing and expect to have different results. So for a number of organizations, this is the time to sit down and say, okay, let's come back to the drawing board. The way we started the year is not the way the year is going. But then, if you had some projections at the beginning of the year and saw how things were going, you would know that we would hit this moment, right? The tendency of hitting this moment was very high, and it's going to get a little bit harder before the good times comes. So the key thing is for us not to be swept away by the storm. We want to stay focused. We want to even soar even with the storm, right? You know how the eagles, instead of the eagle running away from the storm, the eagle rides on the storm to just soar very high. That's what we want to do in this season. Now, some of the things we want to do is to practice one, mindfulness. This is one way of transforming your mindset. Being mindful, being intentional about what you say, what you think. Like your mind is the framework for all how your thoughts are formed, how your thoughts are processed, and the meaning you give to situations. So you can actually begin to watch what triggers you, what you speak, what you think, what you say, what you engage on. I was discussing with a very close friend a few days back, and I said there are certain, not because I'm running away from the news, but I want to manage my triggers, right? I want to get information without having the information sensationalized, without making it, get the basic things of what's happening, without making it sound as if doomsday is already right here, right now. So you also want to watch what you feed yourself. Where do you get your information from? Where do you get your news from? So you want to be very, very mindful about all of these things. You also want to be mindful about the relationship you keep. So mindfulness is so key. You want to be careful about who speaks into you. A number of people are so pessimistic. They carry negative vibes and energy. If you want to avoid being triggered, you want to avoid staying around such people. This is not the time when you become very careless with how you show up, who you show up with, what you listen to, what you read, what you engage on. So you want to be so mindful in that respect. You might think that these are very little things, but I tell you, little drops of water make what a mighty ocean. So you want to practice mindfulness. You want to take time to just be sure what you're internalizing, what you're getting into you, because whether you like it or not, it has an effect on you, it impacts on you. So mindfulness is one key way of transforming your mindset if you want to build emotional resilience. The other thing I would recommend is remain positive. Remain positive. Yes, a whole lot of things are happening now. Fuel has increased, electricity charges keep going up. Some people, like if you live in Enugu, there's some parts of the city that has been blocked off condom for several months, and they're walking on the road. So even getting in and out of one's house is problematic. That is enough stress by itself. School fees were increased. So a lot of things are happening that I know it's so difficult to remain positive. You say, how can I remain positive in the face of all of this? But my dear, it's a choice. You have that choice to make, to remain positive or to go on the negative route. So I have chosen to be positive in the midst of all of this. I keep saying, I'm not going to survive, I'm going to thrive. So someone was talking to me and said, how is it? It's so difficult to survive, and people are fighting for survival. I said, no, I'm not fighting for survival, and I will never fight for survival. I'm not surviving, I'm thriving. That in this season, billionaires are made. In this season, millionaires are made. In this season, a lot of things happen. Gates and doors are open for people, and I'm one of such people, right? And so, what you say, the thoughts you say, you know, impacts on your actions, impacts on how you see things. So, when you believe that there are opportunities at a time like this, it makes you more alert to seeing things. So your mindset really helps you to interpret the meaning, because when you come from a negative perspective, even when positive things are happening, you will not see it, you will not understand it, because you're acting up so negatively, right? So please remain positive. Yes, I agree, sometimes it's so difficult. Some days you wake up with all kinds of things, and it's so difficult to remain positive. I was told today that a bag of cement that used to be 5,254 is now 10,000 naira. So you would, and if you're one that is in building or doing something, you like, what kind of thing is this? 100% increase? That's crazy, right? So in a time like this, it might be difficult to remain positive, but I tell you it's possible. It's a choice. It's a choice. You will always have choices to make. It's all in your hands to make the choice. When you decide to be negative, is a choice you have made. When you decide to be positive, is a choice you have made. So all I'm asking you to do is to be very intentional. That's still where we come back to mindfulness, right? Now, you want to be very intentional about remaining positive. And then the other thing, another thing that can help you transform your mindset is understanding your why. Yeah, you heard me. Understanding your why. Why were you created? Why are you alive? What drives you? Why did you set up those goals that you did for 2024 and beyond? Your why is what motivates you to show up even when it is so challenging. Now, when you don't have a why, when you don't have a purpose, when you don't have clarity of vision, then it becomes so much easier for you to be swept away in the happenings of the now. I'll take that again. When you don't have, when you don't understand your why, when you don't have clarity of vision, when you don't understand your purpose, it becomes easier for you to be swept away in the tide of what is happening now. So you want to have a deep understanding of why are you here? Why are you driven in certain ways? Why did you set that goals? Why do you want to achieve certain results? That will become your intrinsic motivation that will keep you going even in challenging times like this. You want to be able to say, no matter what, I am not giving up. No matter what, I am not throwing in the towel. No matter what, you just keep going. Once you can do this, and that brings me to the next step, which is once you can do this, it now helps you to do what I would call set your priorities straight. Now, when I'm talking about setting priorities, I'm not talking about having your to-do list. We all have to-do list. We all write up a number of things that we want to do. It's beyond that. At a time like this is when you need to set your priorities. What are the things that are so important that you need to do, that are aligned to your purpose, that is in tandem with your vision, that moves you closer to your journey or to your destination? These are the things you want to focus on. You want to focus on those things. And then you look at how it plays out every day. What actions you need to be taking every day that are your priority actions. You don't want to swamp yourself with a lot of things. This is not the time to stretch yourself in 1,001 direction. So when you find that you are dragging yourself in different ways, then you need to step back and refigure and prioritize. Now, multitasking is good, but in a time like this, you have to be singular focused. Get your priorities straight. You just need to get your priorities straight. Otherwise, you'll be swept away. So be very clear. What are the most important things for you? What I have done that helps me and I will share with you is I look at my goals for the year and then I break them into quarterly goals. And then I have milestones. And in those quarterly goals, I break them into monthly, weekly, and daily. It may look like a lot of tasks, but it's not. I just have this spreadsheet on my laptop where I do all of this. But you could do it manually too, right? So that I am very specific on the actions that I need to take. It becomes much, it becomes really easier for you to make informed decisions when you are very clear and specific. And so when we talk about smart, setting smart goals, being specific, having making sure that the actions you take are measurable, you know, that they're achievable, they're not an elephant task, that they're really achievable, they are realistic, right? And they're time bound, it becomes easier for you to prioritize. But if you're putting your hands into every pie, you want to do everything, you want to manage all the processes, then you're setting yourself up for a fall. So you want to be very strategic and set smart goals, take smart actions. This is the time when you need to pay attention as to what you're doing. You just need to pay attention and be focused on what you want to do. Don't become multitask, be focused. As the days go by, I learn that skill, like deepen my skill set. That is something that would help each and every one of us, to deepen our skill set in prioritizing. So you know what to delegate. The number of things I've delegated and the tasks I have at hand, if it were before, I want to do all of it myself. So you find out who have the capacity to do what, and you assign it to that person to do. And you're very clear in how you delegate so that you free up time to do what is of priority to you, which only you can do. So you want to be very, very strategic in achieving this. Otherwise, you become swamped. You find out that you're not productive. You can be busy without being productive. I hope you know. Being busy doesn't mean that you're productive. So you can be very busy. You are so busy, but you're not productive. You're not having any results. But morning to evening, you're busy. You're really busy. But at the end of the day, there are no results to show for it. Why? Now, a number of things could be responsible for this. One of this is that you're not prioritizing the tasks, you're not prioritizing your actions, and this creates a lot of restraints on you and how you move forward. So you want to be very careful to prioritize what you get involved in. And then consistency, showing up no matter what, even at a time like this. Hi, Chinelo, Chizoba, welcome, welcome, welcome. Rosemary, welcome. Nice to have you here. Mercy Bunny, welcome. Nice to have you here. So even at a time like this, you want to remain consistent instead of setting up very huge tasks. Small goals, small goals, right? Set up small goals. When you achieve it, you build your confidence level. It becomes easier for you to show up again. So when you're battling with consistency, one of the things you want to look at is what hurdle have you unknowingly placed on your path. So especially at a time like this when a lot of things are happening, for you to remain consistent, one, you need to be passionate about what you do. You need to have clarity about what you do. You need to have an understanding of what you want to achieve. You need to have the skill set and the capacity to undertake the endeavor you set out to do. You need to understand how to delegate, right? You also need to understand how to take constructive feedback, how to network, how to leverage. So all of these are skill sets that you have to build at a time like this. And when you have that open mind to learning, open mind to deconstructing certain things that you think you know, open mind to interrogating things and not just swallowing them verbatim, you find out that your mindset begins to transform. For you to become successful, you must have a transformed mindset. You must have a growth mindset. So you can't keep doing the same thing, and you expect different results. That is just foolhardy. Now, once you can transform your mindset, it helps you to build emotional resilience. You know that no matter what comes your way, you can always surmount it. You know, you are determined to keep moving on. You're intrinsically motivated to keep showing up and to understand what triggers you, to carefully and intentionally extract yourself from toxic spaces and relationship. You come to a I was telling someone, I said, I'm operating a no drama zone. You know what drains you. And when you see what is draining you, and you have important tasks ahead, you now know how to limit it. So I would tell us that at a time we really need to watch. And summary, I'm just summarizing what we have said, from the onset of the program. And welcome if you're coming in just now. You're not in too late. You can always watch the replay. But in summary, we're talking about transforming the mindset as one strategy for building emotional resilience. Remember, this February, our talk is centered on emotional resilience, and transforming your mindset is one way of building emotional resilience. Your mindset is actually the set of beliefs that shapes the way you experience your reality, the meaning that you give to your life experience. It determines the kind of action, the thoughts you have. And so, if you want to have a beautiful experience, if you want to build emotional resilience, then you need to have a growth mindset. A mindset that is open to learning, open to constructive criticism. And then we went on to talk about some of the strategies you can use to transform your mindset. The first one we talked about was being mindful. Practice mindfulness. What you think, what you hear, how you engage, those in your circle, you know, the list goes on. and then you want to remain positive. I know things are so ridiculously expensive. Inflation is on the high side right now. But listen, you can still remain positive no matter what. You want to choose to be among those people who are thriving in a time. It's possible. Even during COVID, people made millions, billions. People thrived. So why do you think you cannot thrive at a time like this? You know, you also want to understand your why. What drives you? What is your vision? Do you have clarity of your vision? You know, um, these are very key things. If you don't understand your vision, if you don't understand why you set some goals and why those goals are important to you, you find out at a time like this, you'll be swept off. This is the time when people who are not grounded, who are not anchored, will jump in from one business to the other business, one profession to the other profession, or will simply give up, become depressed, and start having suicidal thoughts. So you want to make sure that you understand all of these things, and then you want to set the right priorities. This is not the time to put your hand into every pie. You mustn't swing at every good ball. Learn to use the power of your NO. No. Don't allow people to pressure you. Don't put yourself under undue pressure. Stop comparing. Keep yourself focused. Pay attention to what you're doing, what you want to achieve, and know when to ask for help. Do not feel that it is belittling to ask for help. It actually takes a very courageous, focused person to ask for help. You cannot do it all on your own. At some point, you will need people or some person to help you. Be willing to reach out and receive that help that you so desire. And then finally, we talked about consistency, the power of consistency, why you need to show up for yourself every day. But you need to learn how to show up every day. Every day. Show up. Listen, if you are so determined to be consistent, no matter what happens, you experience a shift. I tell you, even with the Friday night hangouts, sometimes it's not easy. Like today, it wasn't easy to be here by 7 p.m., right? But because it's a decision, a commitment I have made to myself. 7 p.m. I must show up, except when it's absolutely impossible to show up. Then we'll go with a recorded version, right? Now, that's the kind of commitment or even greater commitment you want to bring to what you do moving forward. How committed are you to that goal? That commitment is what enables you to be consistent. Now, you also want to check what is making you not be consistent. Is it that you lack the skill, you lack the capacity, you lack the network, you lack the knowledge, right? You're afraid. You want to know all of these things and try to fix them. You need to do away with fear and anxiety at a time like this. If you allow yourself to be eaten up by fear, you go into a very deep romantic relationship with fear, then trust me, you're on a downward slope. So you want to do away with fear and know that fear is a normal emotion, is a normal human emotion, and you just need to dissect the fear. What's the worst that could happen? What alternatives do you have? And so, as I wrap up tonight, I want you to know that you always have a choice. Do not think that you don't have a choice. You always have a choice, and there is always a way out. There's always a silver lining in every dark cloud. The challenge is for you to look for that silver lining. So, in conclusion, even at a time like this, when things seem so difficult, so impossible, where is your silver lining? Look for it. You need to have the eagle's eyesight to be able to find that silver lining in challenging times like this. And when you do find it, please ride on it. Just know that it's very possible to transform your mindset and it's very possible to build emotional resilience. It's also very possible to thrive, not just survive. You can thrive even in a challenging time like this. Be willing to be vulnerable and seek for the help that you need. Yeah, there are people who you can leverage. You can leverage on your social capital. Don't be ashamed, but at the same time, don't become parasitic. Don't be a pest. Always know your worth and what you're bringing to the table. And so, as we wrap up tonight, I hope you've gotten some nuggets. that can enable you to transform your mindset and build your emotional resilience at a time like this. Why don't you take out time, get your journal, and look at some of the key things you're, battling with, and start asking yourself, what are some of the innovative ways or creative ways I can move around this problem? Sometimes, if you cannot go through the challenge, you can go around the challenge until you're able to go through it. So keep your mind open. It's not always an either or situation. There could be an and, there could be other shades of colors in between. It's not just white or black. So keep your mindset open. That's where your growth mindset come into play. Keep your mindset open to see opportunities. When you close your mindset and when you just close it up, it's difficult to see opportunities when they come. So I want you to pay attention. Let your antenna be very, very alert, because trust me, there are a lot of opportunities right now, even at a time like this. How can you find your silver lining in the dark cloud? That's for you to give yourself the permission to transform your mind, open up your mind, build your emotional resilience, and know that it is possible to thrive even in challenging times. And until I see you next week, Friday, stay blessed, stay focused, stay emotionally resilient, be open to new thoughts, new learnings, be open to deconstructing some of the things that you think you know. And listen, there's a whole world out there. Your reality is not the only reality. Your way is not just the right way. Open up your mind. There's a whole lot of things you can learn, and there's a whole lot of creative ways you can navigate these challenging times. And I believe and trust in you, and I know you can do it. And this is me celebrating you ahead of time and saying, I honor you, I love you, I celebrate you. I look forward to seeing you next week, Friday. Stay blessed, stay celebrated, and stay resilient. Bless you, bless you, bless you till I see you next week, Friday. Bye for now.